Good day and welcome to A Place Called Through. I'm your host, Patricia Wade Goings. We're broadcasting from WYTV7, Christian Broadcasters Network. This is a place where we share stories of mission of hope. Our stories are from real people who share real stories, stories to hopefully encourage and empower and to inspire you, hopefully to come on and share your story to help others as well. But it's all done through your giving, your charitable donations made to us to help us continue on this journey, this mission of hope. And if you'd like to be a donor and you want to just help us, please do so by going to WYTV7.org. Today, we are honored to have with us as our guest who's going to share her place called through, and her name is Miss Erin Cuomo. She's going to share her story of going through, facing the unknown, facing things that were unexpected to her in life, but through it all, she's managing to get through. I'd like for you to welcome as my guest today, Miss Erin Cuomo. Welcome to A Place Called Through.
Thank you, Patricia. I'm happy to be here today to share my story with you and with all of your guests and viewers. So,
We're
okay.
honored. We're honored. We're so honored that you took the time out of your busy schedule to share your story to help inspire someone else. And we know that this has been really a challenging battle for you throughout your lifetime. And I know that it's very painful for you to share this story, but we do appreciate you. We want you to know that we're here with you and for you. Like many others who've gone through that have had children and they've lost their children as well. I am a mother who lost a child at the age of 13, so I feel some of your pain. But we want to share with our viewers and our listeners today about your story of where it all began for you.
Thank you. And, I got a text from my mom this morning and I realized that today actually was 15 years ago, the day that my son got diagnosed with a brain tumor. And I didn't even realize that it was 15 years ago today, the day we're doing this interview, until she texted me and said, I'm thinking about you. So that was interesting, that it is 15 years ago to the day that my son was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And it changed our world that day. And, we were young, we were starting out our family. We had a little girl and a little boy, and they were babies. And life was great, everything was perfect. We were super happy and nothing could go wrong. That's how you are when you're newly married and you have kids and everything's wonderful. And then our world just got turned upside down. And within 1 month, he was gone. We did not have time to even process that he had brain cancer. Much less try to figure out a fight to, try to put together a plan to fight it. He got sick, and we were working with a plan to try to make that, that chemotherapy plan to fight it, and then he didn't make it. He died within 1 month. So our world just changed so rapidly in 30 days. So yeah, it was earth shattering, and then our journey of what next. Just everything changed. Our security of what we felt before, of how stable and secure we were, it was gone.
And so your son didn't make it through the chemo. You said he was not
no,
able to take any of the treatments.
His first chemo treatment sent him into a full brain seizure, and they could not control the seizure, and he could not have any more chemo treatments, and he ended up dying from, he died from the chemo, but he died from the brain tumor. It was, one or the other was going to kill him. So,
he had no symptoms of the change in the vision or the limping of his body.
He went from so Easter Sunday, he was running around the yard. That was April 16th. April 19th, he vomited and had a stomach virus supposedly. And then April 21st, we had our first scan, and he had a brain tumor.
Yeah, why I
So
asked that,
yeah,
because those are some of the symptoms
yeah,
that
I know.
indicate, to that, with the swelling,
Absolutely,
limping of
absolutely.
certain body parts, and
It happened so
the,
fast. Yeah, so April 16th, that was Easter. He was searching for Easter eggs and running around the yard. And he was just 16 months old, but he'd been walking since 7.5 months. So he was an active little guy. And he was climbing and running and, no signs of anything. And then Wednesday, like I said, he was throwing up. Thursday night, he stopped walking. Was army crawling, and I thought that was strange. Brought him to the ER. He was not tested for neuro, which our pediatrician had recommended, but the ER doctors did not do. And I was exhausted and fought with them, but they didn't do it. Came home. They did a lot of GI stuff. Came home, called the pediatrician 2-3 hours later, brought him back to the ER the next morning, which, like I said, was 2 or 3 hours later. And that's when
the seizure.
yes, he had had a seizure, and that's when they found the tumor. And so it was a matter of hours, but that's kind of what transpired between when he stopped walking on Thursday and Friday morning. So that was, Wednesday was when he first vomited. Thursday was when he stopped walking, and Friday was when they found it. So it really happened so quickly. And then I think his surgery was Sunday, or I think it was Monday. I think his first surgery was Monday. He had so many surgeries, but I think the first one was on Monday. And it just all happened so fast. But he did not make it more than 1 month, and it just was earth-shattering. They told us at that initial diagnosis and plan, the plan where the whole team got together, the neurologist and the oncologist and the neurosurgeons, that he would hopefully be in remission by his second birthday, just half a year later. And I was so hopeful at that time. And we were fighting for him, and it was going to be a hard half a year, but it was going to be great. And then a month later, it was a very different situation. And
so you had to watch him even go through the surgical processes.
Oh yes. And he came out of the first surgery with he had wispy blonde hair, kind of like me, and he came out of the first surgery, which I was unprepared for, with patches of bald, and I didn't realize that was going to happen. I should have, but I didn't, and it just made me cry. And the neurosurgeon, which he was so kind, and he said, "Would you like me to just shave the rest of his head?" And I said, "I think I would," and I wouldn't imagine a neurosurgeon to take the time out of his busy day and just sit bedside and just shave the rest of his head for me right there on the spot. And he did. And then he looked like a little boy again, without these wisps hanging over bandages. And he did that for me, and it was really nice. And he just gave him a little buzz cut. And that was nice. But it just, to see half hair and half bandages it was alarming.
Yeah.
But
so how was your daughter processing at a small age, watching all of this as well?
It was difficult. So I had never been apart from her. She was 3, almost 4, and she was all of a sudden shifted to my sister's house, and apart from us for days at a time sometimes. My parents came down from New York, and they were staying at my sister's house. And my sister, thank goodness, lived just 10 minutes from us. But there were, like I said, days where I didn't see my daughter, and she was not quite understanding what all was going on. My husband would be back and forth to the hospital. I was staying at the hospital. And then there were a couple of days where we would all go home. You know, they would discharge Louis for a couple of days and then we would all be back again. So it was really weird. I didn't quite understand why they would discharge him either. You know, he didn't feel safe to me to be home with all this
I'm
stuff.
sure, yeah.
But that's what they would do. So when we were all home, we were all home, but then he would be right back again. So it was hard for her too, and she didn't quite understand it all, but she was a little trooper and they spoiled her, of course. You know, my sister and my parents, they spoiled her.
It's a her process to get through this as well, I'm sure.
And it's still, I think, you know, it definitely had lasting effects on her, and we still are working through things that are hard for her now, even still as a young adult.
Yeah, I was going to ask you now, how is she processing it now as you are? As you said, your mom, you know, spoke with you just before coming on air, you know, commemorating this day. So how is she now able to handle this?
Yeah, Megan, she is, she's a junior in college now. She skipped a year of high school. She's a very intelligent young lady, but she struggles. She struggles a lot socially. She struggles connecting with people. She struggles with her emotions.
And that's because of the loss of someone very close to her. Yeah.
A lot of it is connected to that. I think a lot of it is connected to someone that she loved disappeared at an age where she couldn't really understand why.
And she's probably, has she ever really just released it out to you or to say what she's really feeling inside? No. She's still bottling it up.
No, yeah. And, you know, we've tried to talk about it, but I don't think she's there yet. So,
you know. But, you know, so you and your family, your husband and your daughter, unfortunately, this has happened to you. And so now you had to pick up the pieces and try to put everything back, put this puzzle together because of this loss. And, you know, it's life lasting because that's a part of you. And so now you're trying to figure out, where am I going? How am I going to do this? So what did you do? How did you come up out of this place to kind of pick yourself up and to move it into the next year?
So for years I was lost, but I was still a mama and a wife. And that's a hard thing to be when you're completely lost, depressed, and anxious. So I did two things. I read the Bible because I needed to know where my baby was, and I needed to know who had my baby. And I ran. Like Forrest Gump, I ran. Those are the two things I did. I ran and I read the Bible. And I did that a lot until my knees gave out and I couldn't run anymore, literally. And then I started doing yoga because that was more gentle. And so I did those two things. And then I couldn't figure out why the exercise made me feel so good, because I wasn't trying to get in shape, but it was a release for me. So I started studying a little bit more about that. And I knew why I was studying the Bible. You know, I knew that I wanted to learn more about Jesus and more about God. I knew I wanted to know where my baby was. And that I knew why that was making me feel good. But I didn't understand this other thing. So I continued on these two passions of mine. And then I started learning more about the physiology of exercise in the body and emotions, and how these traumas get trapped inside your body. And that when you move, it helps you release the emotions that get trapped inside your body in a natural way. You know, I was like, oh, well, maybe that's why I keep moving. Maybe that's why I keep running. Maybe that's why I'm doing yoga. So I got trained. I became an instructor. I got my therapeutic certification. I started meditating, and then I started combining prayer meditation, and I built a Christian yoga business.
Well, we
Because
want you to definitely keep it moving. Uh,
yes,
so let's just take a commercial break and we'll come back
sure,
and talk to you some more
sure,
about how you are keeping it moving here on a place
absolutely.
called Through, where we're broadcasting from WYTV7 Christian Broadcasters Network. We're going to take a commercial break and we'll be right back with Miss Erin Cuomo, who's talking about grief, the loss of her son at a very early age from a tumor. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this commercial.
Mr. Happy Living here. I love good things made for good people. That's why I love Happy Living's online e-course. It's an 8-week long deep dive into you and the inspired life you want to live. The life you were put here on this earth to live. The one that you and only you can live. 8 weeks of lectures and ideas and topics and supporting materials and powerful self-improvement tools. All designed for you. All designed to help you create the tools and the power and the confidence you need to discover your purpose and to discover the life you were meant to live and to feel incredibly inspired and motivated to decide you will live your life to its fullest. It's all designed to help you create the unique and distinct philosophy of you and your inspired life. Go to happyliving.com, select our e-course, and save $100 with promo code WYTV7. And for every enrollment, I'll donate another $100 to WYTV7. For $300 and about 30 hours, I promise you'll never, ever be the same again.
And welcome back to A Place Called Through, where we're speaking with Miss Erin Cuomo today about going through. She definitely has a going through story to inspire and encourage. At a very early age, she lost her son, who passed away from a tumor. It was unforeseen. This was not expected to happen. When she received the diagnosis, of course, as a mom, as a parent, is just being who you are, the hurt and the loss that is unbearable. And still, even 15 years later, it is still very painful for her and her family that are still trying to process it. So today, we also, as sad as it is, we just want to honor the memory of little Louis today. As we move forward into winding up the last segment of this interview with Ms. Cuomo, she's gone through this grieving process. The family is still trying to mend, but through this all, she has found peace that was unexpected to happen. And so we want to continue talking to her about this inward peace now that she is now developing. Ms. Cuomo, if you would pick up with us on this inward peace that you have now found through your yoga and through your prayers and through your daily devotions, if you will.
Absolutely. So in studying the Bible and in praying and meditating daily and in practicing my yoga, I found this peace that I couldn't find elsewhere. The chaos of the world was going on around me, and I realized that I don't have to be in it. It just felt so good to know that I could find this peace inside my heart that Jesus could give me by just being still. Like Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." That was my verse.
Mm-hmm.
Still is. Um, so I lived that verse. I still live that verse, and I studied to become a yoga teacher and a yoga therapist, and I just last year finally started a business. And I wanted my business to be different because I didn't want it to just be a yoga fitness business because there's enough of those. I wanted it to be a business that could really help people get through something, really like help them transform. I wanted them to know that they could change from the inside. It's not about the fitness on the mat. It's about the transformation that happens in here.
Inside.
And it's not about the exercise, it's about Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So my business combines the meditation with prayer. It combines the movement with the scripture. It combines it all together. We use worship music in the background. I do Bible study yoga. I do self-care courses with yoga practices intertwined with them. And I have fitness components too, because some people's journey is getting healthy,
Mm-hmm.
that's some people's journey. So it is really a very interesting kind of business. And it's new, it's a baby business, and it's been 15 years in the making. So that's what has been born out of this journey of mine. And it's really important to me that people know that, it's Jesus.
And so the people, now that you're interacting with, how are they sharing with you how this experience is now, as you're providing yoga classes and the meditations and the devotions to them? What kind of differences are you seeing with them,
Oh
and
my
how are
goodness.
they expressing to you that it has helped them get through maybe some horrific
Yeah.
situations as well?
So I work with clients one-on-one and in group sessions. And I have had people tell me, and some people come to me and they don't realize that it's a Christian yoga business. And some people do. So some people have chosen me because it's Christian, and some people come in and they have no idea. So the people who have no idea, it's a surprise, and they say, "Oh my goodness, that was wonderful! Wow, what music! That reading you did, that was amazing. That just made me feel so good. It filled me up, and that's just beautiful. It gives me goosebumps all over my skin, And then other people say, I picked you because of this. Yoga scares me a little bit, but because I know that you're bringing Jesus into it, that's why I picked you. Other people said, I don't know how to deal with my anxiety, but I know God does. And you can help me do that because I know that you're working with Jesus. Like those things just give me validation that I'm on the right track. And I don't do this myself. Like I do this with God. I can't do this myself. I can't do anything by myself. None of us can. We do what we can do with God. He helps us do what we can do. So
So this is a walk of faith. It's a new journey for you that you
absolutely.
have, because now, when at the loss of your son, you were feeling, I'm sure, hopeless, as you had stated before, you found, Christ in your life, and you began to pray even more so, and you started getting more into the word, but then you developed this passion to help someone else
Mhm.
in spite of the fact that you are still grieving yourself.
Absolutely.
And so it would be only the work of the Lord that has now opened your heart and your mind, even so, to
Right.
finding Him. And again, we're getting ready to do a conference, Finding God's Purpose for Your Life. So, God does lead us down these paths, and He truly has led you down a path, to help you bring inner peace, but also to spread this joy to others.
Mhm.
And we're just so thankful to God that He has given you, this talent, and that you are able to help other people go through, as well as I'm sure it's helping you because you're seeing them able to process even more.
Mhm.
So we commend you for doing that. one of the things I want to say and that I'm going to read is that I know that when we talked before, you said, I have also learned that through my trials, I can empower others and help them on their journeys. And this is where you are now. You're helping people on their journey
Mhm.
while, it's interaction. You're helping each other. So as we wrap this up, Ms. Cuomo, share with our listeners and our viewers just some words of encouragement, from where you were, where you got stuck at, and where you are now.
So, where I was 10, 15 years ago, I was afraid to answer the phone. I was afraid to go out. My anxiety was so crippling to me. Um, I I was afraid of everything. Truly, I was depressed. Um, but through my prayer and my meditation and my movement and all the things that I've told you about, I've transformed, and I'm good. I feel good, happy, and I'm excited. I wake up and I feel great, and I can do whatever I want to do each day now, which is great, and I feel good about it. Um, the anxiety is no longer. Sometimes I feel it creep up, but then I pray and I'm good. So yeah, there is a good transformation that takes place, and I see people now that are in that place where they're afraid or they're anxious, and I just say to them, I do understand, but we can work together, and you know what? It's
Together you get through.
yeah, together we get through it, and it's okay to feel the way that you feel. Emotions are real. They
Well,
are.
the Bible does says, "Be ye transformed, and by the renewal of your mind." And truly, you have gotten to that place. And we thank you again for sharing your story on a place called through. Godspeed to you. God's blessings, and continue to look into that word. Continue in that moment of worship. We know that it is a horrendous process, but God is able to see you through, and He is seeing you through. And we do pray much here at a place called through and WYTV7 that God will continue to use you to be a blessing as you are. Thank you again, Ms. Cuomo, for being our guest. Real quickly, because we're running out of time. If someone is interested in finding you, connecting, can you tell us real quickly? We've got about 2 minutes of how they can
Sure.
connect with you.
Yes, you just go to breathegraceyoga.com. You can find all my info right there.
But we definitely want to thank you again for that. And in honor and in memory of little Louis today, we definitely want to, remember who he was and who he was in your life. And the memory of him continues to live on. God's blessings to you. I've been your host today at a place called Through. And we broadcasting from WYTV7 Christian Broadcasters Network. Again, this is in honor to our dear departed little Louis, known as Little Louis, to his family and in our hearts too. He'll always be remembered. He'll always be a part of a place called Through. God's blessing to you. And if you'd like to be my guest on a place called Through, please reach out to me in area code of 843-608-9744. You can also follow me on Facebook at a place called Through at Willpower the Call to Rise Above. And you can also find me at pgoingswp@gmail.com to share your story of a place called Through. Remember, those charitable donations make the difference. WYTV7.org. Again, we thank you. God bless you, Ms. Como. Stay safe.
Thanks.